Hello everyone and welcome to my another lecture on job evaluation. That happens to be a new topic. But before I delve into job evaluation, let me have a gist as to what we have done in the previous lectures. In my previous lectures, I spoke something related with the fringe benefits, and I'm sure that by this time you are well equipped with the concept of fringe benefits. Fringe benefits, they are nothing but they are anything which you get over and above your salary, which helps the people to motivate or to increase the TRS, trust, respect and support. And people are motivated to exert higher level of their performances. And we discussed something related to what are the different kind of monetary and non-monetary rewards that can be given, and anything which helps the people to maintain that work-life balance, because the rewards are for the individuals also as well as for the family members also. So I'm sure that you are quite equipped with that. Now today, my dear friends, we are going to deal with a new topic, and this topic is known as job evaluation. In my previous lectures also, we have discussed things related with the performance appraisal. Now, have you ever thought how much money should you be paid for a particular job? Maybe at any level, maybe at top level, middle level or bottom level. How do we make a decision on that a particular job is relevant and the particular job should be something where you should have high level of salary, or the salary structure should be at a lower level? How do we make a decision? Have you ever given a thought? So, in order to dispel your doubts related to that, I'm going to discuss a topic which is known as job evaluation. And my dear friends, job evaluation in simple parlance, if I tell you, it is nothing, but you just have to remember just one line. And that one liner is that job evaluation is nothing but it's just determining the worth of a job in terms of money, or how much worth a job is entitled to, or what is the importance of a job in terms of money. So naturally, a job where the risk factors are high, or maybe where the physical exertion is more, or maybe the time level is more, that job is definitely would be, people who are doing that kind of job, they are entitled to get a higher salary. Here, we do not talk about the individual. Please understand, in the case of job evaluation, we do not have anything to do with the employee. The employee is kept at bay, but we are only concerned with the job, and we are making a decision as to how we are going to decide the compensation package or a salary or a wage structure for a particular job. As you can see on the screen also, job evaluation is an acceptable tool in the hands of the personnel management for avoiding any inconsistency in the job rates. Now, if there are two people who are performing the same task and one is being paid high, the other one is paid low, how will you feel? Naturally, the answer will be bad, because both of them, they are performing the same task. So ideally, what is more important is people who are performing the same level of task, they should have the same level of compensation also. Management method to achieve equity in pay is job evaluation, or in simple parlance, we know that we are determining the worth of a job in terms of money. Determining the worth of a job in terms of money. It is a cornerstone of a formal wage and salary program. The central purpose of job evaluation is to determine the relative worth of jobs of an enterprise. It is therefore helps in establishing fair pay differentials among the jobs. It thereby helps in establishing fair differentials among jobs. Now, pay differential basically means like people who are performing the same kind of the job, they are entitled to get the same salary or wages, and those who are performing a different set of tasks, they will be getting different. In the absence of job evaluation, it may happen that the high value jobs may receive less pay. That is a high probability. That high value job, people who are performing the high value job, and maybe the minuscule amount is being paid to them. So definitely when people are exerting higher levels and the money is not in consonance with the kind of effort you put in, so definitely it will be a demotivating factor. And in case if this happens to be a demotivating factor, people may work in your organization for some time, but definitely they will make an exit, and that can be an ugly exit also. Than the low value job. So when the employees come to know about the differences, they may become dissatisfied. Now, if people they know that there are pay differentials in the jobs, they become dissatisfied. Now, my dear friends, you have to understand one thing. At any point of time, if workers or employees they are dissatisfied or they have some kind of grievances, If those grievances and dissatisfaction or complaints, they are not nipped it in the bud, then they can take a very, very ugly shape in the form of the dispute. And at times the disputes are so weird, they are so bad that they are detrimental to the interest of the workers and the factory people also, or the company also. And to the greater extent, it may lead to the shutdown of the entire organization also. So one has to be very, very careful if people are dissatisfied related with the pay structures. One has to pay heed to this need immediately. Job evaluation is the quantitative measurement of the relative worth of the job for the purpose of establishing the wage differentials. It evaluates the job and not the job holder. That's what I told you. Please bear in mind, maybe in any of the competitive exams, if you get a question, the job evaluation is related to what? Is it related to job holder, or both of them? Never take the job holder. We are only concerned with the job. We are not concerned with the job holder at any point of time. Evaluating the job holder is the task of the performance appraisal, my dear friends, and we have already done this topic earlier also, performance appraisal. We are evaluating the worth. We have actually seen what is the meaning of performance appraisal and how it actually impacts. Then, job evaluation is defined as a systematic process of assessing the value of each job in relation to the other job in an organization. It is intended to provide a rational, orderly hierarchy of job based on their worth to the company. Anything which is more worth to the company, that would be a very, very high paying job. By analyzing the difficulty of the work performed and the importance of the work to the organization. So the work is very important. What kind of the returns the work is giving to the company, that holds very important. For example, if there's a technical or IT company and they are into software making. So software making is the key work. So people who are into the software designing or those who are into the planning and the execution part, naturally they are entitled to get better pay packages. Then there can be some definitions of job evaluation. For example, Wendell French defined the job evaluation as the process of determining the relative worth of job within the organization so that the differential wages may be paid to the job of different worth. Then Kimball and Kimball defines as an effort to determine the relative worth. Please see the word repetition, alright? Relative worth. That means the worth of a job in terms of money, and each job is entirely different. Or of every job in a plan to determine what the fair basic wage of a job should be. Then according to ILO, job evaluation is an attempt to determine and compare the demands which the normal performance of a particular job makes on normal workers without taking into account the individual abilities and the performances of the work concerned. Again, these two words, they are talking about whom? They are talking about the job holder. And in the case of job evaluation, we are not concerned with the job holder at all. Then John and Shubham, who says, job evaluation or job rating, that is another word, is a systematic procedure for measuring the relative worth and value and importance of occupation on the basis of their common factors. Now, this is what we are going to talk about, the critical factors or the common factors that have to be considered. For example, in terms of training, effort, purpose, for the purpose of determining the wage differentials. Now, what is the basic feature of job evaluation? For example, we know that job evaluation, as I told you, that job evaluation is a process of analyzing and assessing the various jobs systematically to ascertain their relative worth in an organization. So, when we are asserting that, there are certain features also. For example, it's a systematic approach. Systematic approach means we have to take into consideration the different criteria. We have to evaluate them on various parameters, and only then we come to the conclusions as to which job is of more important. Then it is the analysis of the work involved in the starting point. If you all remember, my dear friends, we had discussed something related with job analysis. So in the case of job analysis, we also discussed something related with job description. Now, in the case of job description, if you remember, we discussed that what are the duties and the responsibilities or the environment in which the worker is supposed to work. For example, whether the person has to work in the morning hours, evening hours, or if the person has the hanging job or maybe the odd time job, or what are the risk factors, what are the tools on which he is supposed to perform. If the person is working on heavy tools, so naturally the risk factors are higher. So if the risk factors are higher, naturally the person is entitled to get better pay package. Then another striking feature is that it determines the requirement of the work involved for any incumbent. It is a process by which jobs in an organization are appraised. That means every job has to be analyzed, because there's a different call for different jobs. Then it is a process of analyzing and describing positions, grouping them, determining their relative value by comparing the duties. Now this is very essential. Duties in terms of what? Duties in terms of hour, duties in terms of risk factors, maybe duties in terms of requirement. So if these R's and risk factors and requirements, they are very grave, naturally the person has to get better pay packages. Let me give you a very simple example, my dear friends. Let's talk about Indian Army. Like, there are so many army people who are working on ground also, but there may be some army people who, or army personnel who may be working in the Siachen area. So understand the grave situations, the high temperature and the environment in which they are supposed to work. So naturally, if there may be the working hours, the areas, the environment, the situation, the risk factors, the hazards that they are exposed to, they are very grave. So naturally, people who are working there, they are entitled to get better pay packages. So that's how we discuss about the critical factors. Then it is a system to deal exclusively with the assessment of the job and not concerned with the employees assigned to the job. See, this word is coming again and again, that in the case of job evaluation, we are not at all concerned with the job holder. We are only concerned with the job profile, and the person who is going to do that job profile, we are not concerned. Whether it's a female, whether it's a male, whichever age the person belongs to, nothing has to be brought into your mind. Then why are we talking about the job evaluation? Simple, we know that it's a kind of a tool that helps us to achieve the wage rate consistency. And here again, here the jobs are ranked, not the job holders. And basically, job evaluation has a basic dilemma. Why? Because on one hand, it's a kind of a technical function that requires training and expertise to perform. And on the other hand, the usefulness of the job evaluation actually depends upon the acceptance by the management and the employees of the job structure that result with the process. So that is why we say that there is a lot of importance of job evaluation. And definitely any kind of job evaluation which is being done, it is for the purpose of wage and salary differentials, demand for and supply for labor, and again it depends upon the kind of ability to pay, maybe the policies that we have, or maybe the collective bargaining and so on and so forth. And let's have a look at the importance of the job evaluation. Now the significance of job evaluation can be determined through the following points, taking account of all the factors that are useful in determining the wage and salary. Now, when we talk about the factors, these factors, they can be anything which can be related with the classification, or maybe the kind of work, or maybe the specification, or maybe the job description, or it can also be related with the market, it can be related with the job need and job requirement. Lot of things, they can be a part of this. And then there can be different criteria also, which are basically known as the critical factors, and these critical factors, they are nothing but we talk about maybe the kind of skills they need, or the situation or machinery which has to be taken into consideration. Then maintaining harmony between the union and management, as we in my previous lecture we just talked about the trade unions. So naturally money is a big thing. So anybody who's getting a decent salary or a wage definitely helps people to perform better. So any kind of differentials in that regard will not be tolerated in any way. So one has to be very careful that harmony has to be maintained. And why this harmony is important? Because it will result in peace and democracy of the industry or the factory. So we do not want any kind of disturbances to take place in the workplace. Then standardizing the wage determination process. Now when we actually standardize anything, so there is no problem at all. People accept it because they know. For example, if you know, like in case if any teacher is being recruited in any of the university or maybe at the school level, they may be having a different band. So these bands, whenever they were made at any point of time, is the job evaluation. Then compensating the employees as per the requirement of the job to avoid any kind of biasness and promote equality. Now we know that if there is any kind of partiality which is being done, or there is no transparency which is maintained, then definitely it will bring a big discontent among the workers. And any kind of discontent among the workers, it can be detrimental to the interest of the workers and the management on the whole. So this is a very, very crucial aspect that the HR and the management has to take into cognizance. And lastly, minimizing the cost of recruitment. So definitely we've also discussed anything which is related with the recruitment part also. So definitely it helps to bring down the cost in terms of that. Now, what are the objectives of job evaluation? Is definitely to maintain the impersonal description of each job, provide a standard procedure for determining a rate of pay, because each job has its own requirement, its own call, and its own factors have to be evaluated in the light of other factors, and to ensure that the wages are paid to all the qualified employees. That means there is no partiality which is being done, everything is on a fair platter. Then to promote fair and accurate consideration of all the employees for the transfer and advancement, everything remains same. So here what is more important? The word equality. So if the wage differentials are done, so it is equal for anybody. For example, it can be Mr. X who can do the job, or it can be Mr. Y who does the job. It will remain the same. And to provide a very factual basis for the consideration of the wage rate for similar jobs, and to provide information for the work organization, employee selection, training, and numerous other purposes. So we actually come to know, like a person who, for example, if a person who comes and performs a particular job, we know that what kind of need or the skills the person should have, and then accordingly the person would be compensated. Then it says something about the job evaluation process also. Now, in the case of job evaluation process, for example, the objectives of the job evaluation, they have to be very clear. Like, what are the objectives of the job evaluation? For example, it's a very systematic method. It brings to there is an equality, and there's a fair pay, justified pay, and there are no grievances related to the pay, and inequalities, they get removed, so on and so forth. The ones we just discussed in the previous slide, they are a part of the objectives of the job evaluation, or they can also bring down the cost of recruitment. Then this word is quite familiar to you. Job analysis is again job description and job specification. Job description is basically deciding upon the duties and responsibilities of the particular job. Job specification is the minimum criteria that one has to fulfill to qualify for a job. So, how we actually talk about the job evaluation? It is only possible once we have the job analysis done very well. So, for every job, the job analysis of paramount importance, and then when the job descriptions have been done, maybe in terms of machinery, in terms of tools, in terms of environment, in terms of supervision, in terms of hazards or risk, all those things. So we know that a particular job is a very risky job, or it's very grave, the situations are very tough. So if the situations are very tough, then naturally better pay is expected. Then we have got the job evaluation program. There are experts who will be dealing into this. Then the wage survey is done, that any salary or wages which are being paid, it has to be competitive enough. That neither too high nor too low. So it has to be competitive enough. That is the word. And lastly, it talks about the employee classification also. So the person who is going to perform the task, definitely there's people who are going to perform a particular task, they are properly classified. That okay, Mr. X is going to do this job, Mr. Y is going to do this job, Mr. Z is going to do this job, depending upon the complexity of the work and the complexity of the job. Then the factors of job evaluation process, there are many different compensable factors of job evaluation, but there are basically 6 that we talk about. Now, compensable factor basically means the critical factors actually. So, like the factors which can be quantified actually. So, the first one happens to be job analysis. So, here in the case of job analysis, there's a kind of a collection of the information, and we have to be very clear that it is not related to the individual, but of course, it is related with the job only. So, here we are trying to get lot of information about the job content. That's what I just discussed before, that it has got 2 aspects, job description and job specification. So, the job analysis process helps the company to look out for the work and performances and decide the promotion of any of the working individual of the company or not. So, that's a kind of a criteria that is set. Then, job description is basically again deciding upon the duties and the responsibilities, and a job description is usually developed by conducting the job analysis, which includes the examining the task and the sequencing of the tasks which are necessary for the performance of a job. And in the case of a job description, it is again prepared on the basis of the data collected through different ways. And here we actually talk about the contents. So job description and job specification, they are both a part of the job analysis only. Or in other words, job description is like a description of the activities and the equipment and the tools and the nature of supervision, working condition, hazards, so on and so forth, which are discussed in the job description. Then job specification. Job specification specifies the required skills that are needed to perform a job. It actually relates to the translation of the job description in terms of qualifications, skills, knowledge, abilities, which are needed for the successful performance. Or in other words, we know that the minimum criteria that the one has to fulfill to be eligible to do that task. So it actually talks about the skills in terms of education, experience, attributes, computer literacy, requirement, physical and mental characteristics, emotional and social specification, behavioral, so on and so forth. Then another factor that we have, it's all related with the job rating. Now, after the decision has been taken regarding the job description and specification, the person is actually rated according to the work or the performance that they have possessed, or we see that whether the person is good enough to perform the job or no. So, this is more of the thing related with the assigned task. Then we have got something related with the job wages. Now, the determination of the job wages according to the work is a very necessary step that basically helps the company to run with the flow. So, the company will not be able to work well if the wages are not predefined. So, that is why for the purpose of predefining the wages, we do the entire process of job evaluation. So, because if the wages are not well predefined, it can lead to disputes which can hamper the industrial relations, and at no cost the company can bear that kind of disturbance in the entire structure, because it will eventually lead or hamper the industrial productivity. Worker classification. For the systematic management of the company, my dear friends, it is very important that the workers are properly classified. With the help of classification, we can understand the quality of each worker without much difficulty. So, the classification is basically done on the basis of the classification on the basis of the job and the complex work. So, we know who are the people who can actually do that task. So, basically these are the 6 factors or the principal factors that play an important role in the process of job evaluation of the workers. As everything has its own advantages and disadvantages, so this job evaluation process also has the same. So, that was the factors that we talked about. Now, let's have a look at the job evaluation. Now we know more or less is quite interrelated with each other. Again, this chart is from my book HRM by Dr. Rakhi. So, job evaluation, we know it's all related with the job description and job specification. Then there is an appointment of the committee members. Now, what happens is that any kind of the process is done. Actually, we are taking into cognizance 3 things. We are talking about the job, we are talking about the market, and we are talking about the employee. So, we know that the job, we are actually in job evaluation, we are only talking about job. Again, the pay structure has to be such that it is quite competitive related with the market, and again we are doing it for the purpose of the employee, because we know that we need to have the predetermined wage structure or differentials. So, for the purpose of definition of this, there is an appointment of the members of the committee members. And since it's a very, very specialized function, it has to be performed by a committee consisting of the members from the organization, maybe the experts from outside, maybe people from HR, and generally people from HR, they act as the chairman of the committee. So, this committee is a highly expertised group encompassing a lot of people. Then training for the job evaluation. Now, members of the training should be given some kind of training regarding the following. For example, it can be related with the job, how the work will be done, what are the objectives of the job evaluation, or what impact it is going to have on the promotion policy of the company, or will the job evaluation be acceptable, or what will be the confidentiality level, or maybe whether the system will able to cater to the additions or the alterations in the job, or how the company will deal with the additional and alterations in the job. Well, we can answer all these questions. So all those trainings, they are actually given to the evaluators who do that. Then the fourth one is defining the criteria. So evaluation of job or any other element within or without the organizational context, it always relates to the comparative and the comparisons evaluative criteria that should be there. For the job evaluation, my dear friends, defining these criteria, they are very important. Firstly, we have to identify the critical factors, right? So when we talk about the job evaluation, the word critical factor is very important, right? So critical factors are like factors in terms of skills, or maybe the knowledge and abilities and the environment hazards. These are the critical factors. And as I told you, this can also relate to the working condition or the kind of level of responsibility the one has to shoulder, or what would be the time span, or maybe the efforts, or maybe the skills required, hazards required, on what kind of machinery the person has to work. So these are the factors which have to be evaluated. And on the basis of the complexity, the more the complex they are, the better will be the pay structure. Simple concept. And identifying these factors, the criteria in respect of these, they all have to be quite fixed. And for that purpose, some kind of benchmarking is needed at this level also. That okay, which are the factors that would be considered in making the decision or deciding what should be the pay structure. Then step 5, it talks about the selection of the methods. After fixing the criteria, the next step is the determination of the methods through which the various criteria can be applied in the job evaluation. So these criteria, they can be both the qualitative and the quantitative methods also, which can be used. So we generally actually we use the combination of both the methods, the qualitative and the quantitative. Probably in my next lecture, I will be discussing the methods at length. That is the qualitative and the quantitative methods of job evaluation. But as of now, you should just know that there are two methods of determining the worth of the job in terms of money, that is qualitative and quantitative. And lastly, the step 6, it talks about that based on the results that we obtain with the help of various methods which are used for evaluating different factors in a job, or the evaluation of the whole job as such, various jobs are classified into different grades. And the ultimate goal of any factor comparison is to assign the relative worth of the job in terms of the others. And then we see that which jobs are high paid jobs. For example, they can be class 1 officers, they can be class 1 officers, they can be class 2 officers, class 3 officers and class 4 officers. So now we know that okay, these numbers have emerged and they are all into a grade, and then the one particular pay band can be decided for a particular grade. So with the help of these steps, we can actually do the job evaluation very, very effectively. So right from step 1, from the job analysis till the job classification, we talk about that. So my dear friends, I am sure by this time you are well equipped with the concept of job evaluation, that what is the meaning of a job evaluation. It's nothing but it's just deciding the worth of a job in terms of money. There can be different methods of doing that job evaluation, which I'll be discussing at length in my probably next lecture. And then you should also know that what is the meaning of job evaluation, or what is the purpose, why we are doing it, what is the significance, or what is the need of it in an organization. So definitely to have that parity, to have that equality, to have that kind of equitable pay structure for everyone, irrespective of the person who is performing a task, he or she is entitled to get the same kind of pay structure. So in a nutshell, job evaluation is nothing but again deciding the worth of a job in terms of money, and it has to be very, very carefully done with the help of experts. As I told you, that these experts, they can be the people from company, they can be experts from outside, they can be people from HR, and then the entire process has to be carried out, that how the information has to be collected, what are the critical factors or the compensable factors which have to be taken into consideration before we go ahead with the determination of the or the comparison of job with one to the another. So at the end, we can say, as you can see on the screen, that a job evaluation scheme should be chosen very, very cautiously. It should be devised and administered on the basis of employment market, demand for labor, bargaining power of parties and the job condition. If you see very carefully these last lines or three words, we are actually talking in favor of the job holder, right? But in the case of job evaluation, we do not take the person into consideration. But anything which we are doing in the evaluation level, it is only for the benefit of the job holder. So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I have for you all today in this session. Stay tuned for the next one on the job evaluation. Most probably, I'll be discussing things related with the job evaluation methods and the other aspects also. Thank you so much.